he upset me, Sir Keir Starmer. Not only did he upset me, OK, by suggesting I might be a far-right thug, he said that about you as well, and you, Myron, all of us. We're all far-right thugs. Not only did he do that, it's actually had a real-world knock-on effect. I have a lot of anxiety in my stomach, genuinely. I come on air and sometimes I go to bed at night and I think, what did I say? What did I say on air? Yeah. Am I going to get in trouble for this?
Self-censorship.
Am I going to be cancelled? You know, it is bullying. Yeah. It's actually having a detrimental impact on my mental health.
But he hasn't actually...
It's a non-crime hate incident.
But they all do these things without defining what the words actually mean. So he's still... I want a definition of far-right. I want an actual point, a booklet that thick with a definition going through. These are the things that define what a far-right person is. Because if you're going to make policy, if you're going to throw people in jail, if you're going to demonise and dehumanise people, you need to define your words.
But also, when they do this whole, like, oh, something's racist or something's transphobic or homophobic, it's all built around the premise that because someone's got a protected characteristic, it's either sexuality, origin, creed, so on and so forth. As a result of having that, they're ostracised, they're persecuted, they're called names and treated badly, they're bullied, they're made to feel like they don't fit in, don't belong and aren't allowed to integrate. Well, if that ain't what's happened to Brexiteers... I mean, that is exactly... I think Brexiteers are the most persecuted minority in this country at this point. None of them have been allowed to advance in their careers. People have been thrown out of jobs as a result of it. We've been called every single name under the sun. We're not allowed, even when we all got together as a majority and said this is what we want to do democratically, we weren't allowed to have it. They're still coming after our ideology right now. Where's our special minority protections?
There's a hierarchy of oppression and suffering on the left. And so if you put, say, the brown person or the Muslim person perhaps sometimes, or the trans person, there's everyone has a different hierarchies, but if you can feed your virtue into that, then you are virtuous, you are self-righteous, and that's always at the expense of the white working class often, or the British citizen in general.
Do you know what I've learned over the years, and it's sort of what you're saying is absolutely true, that if you are, say for instance, say if you were in Al-Qaeda and a convicted terrorist and all of a sudden you've seen, you've had the Damascene revolution and go, I don't want to be this anymore, I want to come out and support the West, then you're actually sort of held up like some sort of oracle. You're given radio shows and platforms. But if you're white working class and you happen to have said something once in your life, there is no redemption. Nothing. You have to be tarnished with a scarlet letter your whole life. There is no salvation for white working class people.
It's a kind of cliche.
Original sin.
But the bigotry of low expectations, and that's really what it is. The brown man is, and I can say this as a brown man, right? I feel quite comfortable saying this, but if you're a brown man, you're held to different expectations, different standards, whereas if you're a white person, you said one thing wrong on a random Twitter 10 years ago, you're finished.
You're done.
You're done.
Let's have a listen to Sean on non-crime hate incidents.
Morning, Alex. Just want to say that I drive a lorry full of fish every day and I stink from the moment I get into work to the moment I get home. I have people tell me every day that I stink, especially when I'm in the shops after work. And I do stink. I admit I stink. And the fact that I can make these non-crime hate incidents against all these people, if I did that, there'd be literally 10, 20 people a day getting lifted. I mean, it's absolute nonsense, man. What's going on?
Oh, Sean, I can whiff you all the way from here. You can smell that reek coming out of your voice. Blimmin' ex, Sean. Put on some Old Spice, would you? I mean, it's just mad, isn't it? And also, I love lorry drivers, backbone of our nation. My dad, of course, I say this all the time, he was a car transporter driver. And people forget how hard men like you toil, Sean. But you do smell, it's true. Let's listen now to Cora on non-crime hate incidents.
Morning, Alex. Listening to all of the information and thought control with regards to the UK government now with this policing of what people say and what people do, it's very, very familiar to me with regards to something called the bite model. I don't know whether you've ever heard of it. Stephen Hassan, a leading cult expert in the United States of America, designed this bite model as a way of identifying a cult, and it basically stands for behavioural control, information control, thought control and emotional control. And that's exactly what the government are trying to do right now. It's very scary times, and if they're not careful, they're very, very quickly sliding into what could be considered a cult mentality.
Wow.
I think she's absolutely right,
That's
actually.
quite
What behaviour control, information control, thoughts control, what was E?
Emotional, was
Emotional,
it?
thank you, in my ear there.
Yeah.
I've got a goldfish brain.
Yeah.
I also smell of fish. But it's true, this is exactly what it is. They're building prisons in our minds. And, you know, it's amazing how much of this was road tested during COVID, wasn't it? Because when you look back now, like at the time, you look back on some of those laws and you think, that even a logical person, even a scientist knows that this is nothing to do with actually controlling the dispersion of a virus. This is about controlling people. So, for instance, when you had to, if you wanted to go to the pub and you had to follow a one-way route and have a mask on all the way to the point you sat at the table and then you took your mask off, and tables of just 2 people. Well, the place you're going to start, I don't know, getting your gubbin viruses in people's noggins is if you're sitting opposite them. And it doesn't matter whether you walk north to south or south to north, the virus is going to spread. Well, this stuff was the nudge unit, and it's amazing what they did to us during that period of time.
The most powerful tool is fear, right? Once you've got fear, all your mental, rational faculties go out the window. And I knew people who are more scared of getting COVID than getting cancer. Right? That was the thing. People were just like, you know, I've got a lump here, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to go to hospital and get COVID.
Worse still, people were more scared of sitting on a park bench than getting cancer. People were more scared of, I don't know, being out 2 minutes after the allotted time that you got to walk around your neighbourhood, but don't go more than a mile away from your front door.